Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji to enlighten us on Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. So Mataji will summarize. Today is the fourth part of summarization of chapter 24, Madhya Lila. So thank you so much Mataji for giving your valuable association and time to all of us. Now I would like to hand over the call to you Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Pavitra. Be on video or on live or live screen?
No, Mataji, I'll be not online.
Okay, Mataji, no problem.
Thank you so much, Pavitra Mataji, for the wonderful service of welcoming everybody. And thank you everybody for joining us. So today we'll start with the summary number 4 of this chapter, that is Madhya Lila, chapter 24, explanation of the Atma Rama verse. So we'll read the verse, we'll say the invocation, and then we'll move forward. Explanation of the Atma Rama verse, and this verse is Atma Ramascha manyo nirgrantha api urukrame kuruvanti ahitukim bhaktim itam bhuta gune hari. Those who are self-realized and unattracted by external material desires are also attracted to the loving service of Sri Krishna, whose qualities are transcendental and whose activities are wonderful. Hari, the personality of Godhead, is called Krishna because he has such transcendently attractive features. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Chari Swami Iti Namini. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I offer my humble obeisances to each and every one of you present on the call. Please accept my nalvat. Vancha kalpa taruvascha, kripa sindhu bhayevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo, namo namo. Hare Krishna. So again, we are on the very esoteric subject matter, very philosophical, which is truly speaking beyond even my capacity to understand, but just accepting as a service and repeating the words of our dear Srila Prabhupada because of his beautiful purpose in the various, scriptures like Caitanya Caritamrta, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, because of which, I'll be able to repeat some words like a parrot without any realization of my own self. So we'll start, but before that, today is also the disappearance day of our dear Srila Prabhupada, and the appearance and disappearance day of the great Acharyas. Both are to be celebrated because it is ill who thinks that a Vaishnava dies, right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur always says. So, again, seeking blessings of dear Srila Prabhupada, that I may be able to speak something relevant. And of course, more important is that I should be able to convey the right message that Srila Prabhupada wants all of us to get it. So, serving just as being a via media, try to myself, first of all, understand all these verses, and then probably try to proper communicate it. So seek blessings of Srila Prabhupada and of course all the assembled Vaishnavas. Please bless me so that I am able to repeat the right message. Again, I say, it's none of this is my realization. I'll be simply repeating like a parrot. So we'll move that we know about this verse. This verse It also appears in Srimad Bhagavatam. But this verse was first of all explained by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and there he explained 18 different meanings of this Atmarama verse. And then Sanatana Goswami requested Mahaprabhu to, again repeat all that. So Mahaprabhu, out of humility, he said that whatever gets remembered, because of the association of Sanatana Goswami, he's giving him the importance. And he's saying that he's explaining the different meanings of this Atmarama verse. So in this chapter, the whole chapter, he'll be telling 61 different meanings of this Atmarama verse. So in the first summary, we saw that how there are different 11 words in this whole verse, and Mahaprabhu gave quite a different meanings to each and every word. And in the next summary, we saw that how he took the word Atma, and the first meaning of Atma that he gave was the absolute truth. In the second summary of this chapter, we saw that how the meaning of Atma as an absolute truth, the Brahman, right? And we saw that how the absolute truth can be understood by three ways, Brahman realization, and then Paramatma realization, and then Bhagwan realization. So we extensively discussed that. And in the third summary, we did the 7 different meanings that came out from this Atmarama verse. So at that time, with the Atmarama verse, he was dealing with the Jnana Yogis, right? Those who realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead through Jnana Yoga, right? And then he came out with 7 different meanings. We did it. The first 6 were Sadhaka, one who is a neophyte. Then Brahmamaya, one who is absorbed in the thought of that impersonal Brahman. Then third is the Prapta Brahmalaya, means one who has actually attained that Brahman perfection. Then we went on to Mumukshu, one who desires liberation. Then 5th is the Jivan Mukta, one who is liberated in this life. Then 6th is the Prapta Sarupa, one who has already attained his original constitutional position. Right? So we have discussed these 6, and the 7th was the Nirgrantha Muni that Mahaprabhu was explaining, that we'll take the literal meaning as a completely liberated saint. So these were the 7 meanings that we discussed in our last summary number 3. So again repeat: the Sadhaka, Brahmamaya, Prapta Brahmalaya, Mumukshu, Jivan Mukta, Prapta Swarupa, and finally the Nirgrantha Muni. So these were the 7 different meanings that we saw of the Atmarama verse by considering just the word Atmarama as a Jnana Yogi. Moving forward from 154, today is the 4th summary. Now we'll move on to those yogis who worship the super soul as Paramatma in their heart, all the Ashtanga yogis, or those who are on the meditative process, right? So we'll see what Mahaprabhu has to tell about them, and from there the different 6 more meanings of the Atmarama verse will come forward. So first 6 were from the Jnana Yogis. The 7th was Nirgrantha Muni, and now he's moving back again to the word Atmarama, where he's talking about the Ashtanga Yogis. And for that, he'll give 6 more different meanings to this Atmarama verse. So 154, it says, the yogi who worships the super soul within himself is called Atmarama, and there are 2 types of Atmarama yogis. So now he's talking about Ashtanga yogis, means those who concentrate their mind on the super soul, the Paramatma feature, right? So Jnana yogis, they always go for Brahman realization, the light or the effulgence which is coming from the Lord. But now he's talking about those Ashtanga yogis who worship the super soul, who is within their heart, who is residing as Paramatma in each and every living entity. So they are also known as Atma Ramas, right? Now there he's saying that there are two types of such Atma Rama yogis. So one is known as Sagarbha and the other is known as Nigarbha. So these two Atma Rama yogis, the first is known as Sagarbha. So Sagarbha Atma Rama yogi refers to a yogi who worships the super soul in the Vishnu form. Right? We all know that the Paramatma in the heart of the living entity is four-handed form, right? Holding the conch, the club, gada, the club, conch, lotus and chakra, the wheel of a chariot, right? So four-handed Vishnu form. So those Atmarama yogis who worship the super soul in the Vishnu form, they are known as Sagarbha yogi. And the other one, that is Nigarbha yogi, they also worship the super soul, but still they consider that there is no form of that super soul. Right? I'll keep on repeating so that, it makes more sense and more clear also. So two types of Atmarama yogis. We are now talking about Ashtanga yogis, right? So there are two. One is known as Sagarbha and Nigarbha. Sagarbha are those who realize that yes, the Paramatma is there in the heart, but he has a form. He has that four-handed form, which is Vishnu, and they worship that form. They are known as Sagarbha yogis. But there are still some Atmarama yogis who worship the super soul in the heart of the living entity, but they consider that there is no form of that super soul. He is formless. And they are known as Nigarbha yogis. And to those Sagarbha yogis, those who think that the Lord has a form, they say that the Lord within the heart, who is present as Paramatma, he measures about 6 inches. Now, how 6 inches? And then I'll tell you how. And then the Lord has 4 hands in which he holds a conch shell, club, disc, and a lotus flower. Conch shell, shankha, club is gada, disc is a chariot, the wheel of a chariot, or chakra you can say, and lotus flower is padma. Now, how the measure of the size of the Lord present in the heart is about 6 inches. So Prabhupada, he quotes a word from Srimad Bhagavatam, and he tells, as per Bhagavatam it says that it is Pradesha Matram, right? It is 8 inches. But in CC, in translation, Prabhupada says about 6 inches. So in both CC and Bhagavatam, the verse is the same. We see the text number 156 of CC that I am talking about. It says, Pradesh Matram Purusham. So the Purusham who is residing in the heart is Pradesh Matram. Now in CC, Prabhupada translates Pradesh Matram as about measurement of 6 inches, whereas the same verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says about 8 inches. But it's not a confusion about 2 inches. The idea is that how it is if you take the tip of the ring finger and then expand your thumb, right? Open all your fingers, expand it, and then measure from the tip of the thumb to the tip of the ring finger. the size that comes, which is approximately around 6 to 8 inches, it is said is the size of the spiritual heart in which the Paramatma resides. And there, the Lord has 4 hands, right, in which he holds club, conch shell, disc, and lotus flower. Now, Prabhupada also mentions that the form of Vishnu, when he holds all these 4 weapons in his hand, the position of the weapons holding in the 4 hands determine what type of Vishnu, what the form of Vishnu he is. So Prabhupada mentions that there are 24 forms of the localized personality of Godhead. And what are they forms is Purushottama, Achyuta, Narsimha, Trivikrama, Rishikesha, Keshava, Madhava, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Sankarshna, Sridhara, Vasudeva, Damodara, Janardana, Narayana, Hari, Padmanabha, Vamana, Madhusudana, Govinda, Krishna, Vishnumurti, Adhokshaja, and Upendra. Right? So these are the 24 localized personality of Godhead which are there, and each of them is, each of them are carrying this Padma, Chakra, Shankha, and Gada in their different positions. Right? And just with the change of the position, the form of the Vishnu is also changed. That is what Prabhupada is trying to explain. But we have to understand that all such forms are Advaita, means they are non-different from one another. Each of them are eternally young. But here in Chaitanya Charitamrta, it says that they are talking about of a particular kind of Paramatma who is known as Janardana. And Janardana, we know the meaning of Janardana is Jana Ardhana, one who controls the Jana, means general mass. He is known as Janardana. So those who worship this form of Vishnu within the heart, they are known as Sagarbha yogis. Now we come to the divisions, that how he is making the divisions and the meaning of that Atma Rama word through Sagarbha yogis and Nirgarbha yogis, right? So now coming on to the point, he is saying the yoga. What is the meaning of the word yoga? The meaning of the word yoga is it's a process of linking oneself with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is yoga, right? If we are not able to link ourselves with the Supreme Lord, then there is no point of calling that process to be the yoga. Now yoga, can it be a karma yoga, it can be a jnana yoga, it can be hatha yoga, it can be bhakti yoga, it can be any kind of yoga. But the point is that we have to link ourselves. Yoga means yuti, union. So we have to link ourselves with the Supreme Lord. Only then that process is known as yoga. For example, karma yoga. If we are, through our fruitive activities, if we are not in the process of linking with the Supreme Lord, then the same karma yoga is known as karma kanda. The activity is known as karma kanda, because nowhere the original personality of Godhead is involved. But the moment the original personality of Godhead is involved, and when we link ourselves, the same karma activity becomes karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, or finally the bhakti yoga. So this yoga we'll try to understand it as a ladder, right? So there may be some devotees who will be in the start of the ladder, who may be a neophyte, those who may be at the middle, and those who are finally on the top, and those who are almost attained the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There will be different people on the different stages of these ladders. Now, irrespective of what kind of yoga we are following, whether it's a karma yoga, jnana yoga, hatha yoga, or dhyana yoga, or bhakti yoga, there are different stages. Now, the beginning of the ladder, where a person is on the neophyte stage, that part is known as yoga arukshu. Yoga arukshu means you are on the start of the ladder. So that means we will be performing some kind of rules and regulations, right? Following some kind of rules and regulations so that we can perfect our life and finally rise up on that ladder. So that portion, when we start, when the beginning is there to enter into that meditation, we have to follow some rules and regulatives, some life and some practices. And now, since we are talking about Ashtanga Yoga, so that means we'll have to practice some, the yogis basically have practiced some kind of sitting postures, some asana, some yama, some niyama, some asana, so that they may be, because the point is when we are meditating, you have to sit properly. If we are not able to sit properly for long, then there is no point in going into deep sadhana, because then we'll be distracted with the position of our sitting posture. We'll be distracted with that. So those Ashtanga yogis who are on the yoga rurukshu level, means the start of the level where they are just starting the beginning of their realization, they have to follow some yama, some niyama, some activities, some practices, some different sitting postures, so that they can get more concentrated in their activities. But once they are perfected their life into such stage, then they move forward and then they come on to the level of controlling their senses. Right? Dharana, like there are it says that there are eightfold types of yoga, hatha yoga. There is yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, then dharana, then dhriti, forgetting this, and then dhyana. But it's basically
pratyahara was just pratyahara.
Pratyahara, thank you so much. Pratyahara, that means the controlling of the senses, and finally they reach up to the level of sadhana. Now this level of pratyahara, dharana and sadhana, these are the advanced level where a yogi doesn't have to put much effort on sitting postures or following some rules and regulations or following some regulative principles, because they have already perfected that stage. Once you are on the middle of the ladder, you don't come back onto the beginning of the ladder. You are already crossing out that point. So that point where they now on the top of the ladder, and they are almost now working on the equilibrium of their mental thoughts, means they are controlling their senses from the sense objects and finally diving deep into the sadhana process. That stage is known as yoga ruddha. And finally, when they have attained or when they have seen that localized form of Paramatma in their heart, that is known as prapta siddhi, means they have already achieved. Right? So now there are three divisions: yoga rurukshu, which is at the beginning, and then yoga ruddha, and finally the prapta siddhi. So again, Prabhupada makes up the point that for those saintly persons who wish to rise on the platform of yogic perfection, they have to follow strictly some kind of regulative principles and practicing the yoga postures, some asanas and breathing exercises. So they are on the stage of yoga rurukshu. But for those who have already elevated to this platform, then they have to maintain their mental equilibrium by rejecting all the material activity and finally practicing meditation to keep the mind continuously on the Supreme Lord. That stage is known as Yoga Ruddha. And finally, those yogis who have attained self-realization, who are able to see the localized Paramatma in the heart, they are known as Prapta Siddhis. Right? So there are 3 now. So now comes the division of that Atma Rama verse. We read about 7. Another 6 that Mahaprabhu explains is, so first is Sagarbha Yoga Rukshu. Sagarbha Yoga Rukshu. Means Sagarbha means those who are seeing the form of Vishnu. They are known as Sagarbha and Nigarbha. So now we'll make a permutation and combination. So there are 2, right? Sagarbha, Nigarbha. But in these 2 also there are 3. Yoga Rurukshu, Yoga Ruddha and Prapta Siddhi. So that makes 6. How? First is Sagarbha. Sagarbha Yoga Rurukshu, Sagarbha Yoga Ruddha and Sagarbha Prapta Siddhi. Then comes Nigarbha. Nigarbha Yoga Rurukshu, Nigarbha Yoga Ruddha and Nigarbha Prapta Siddhi. So that makes 6. So this way he gives 6 more meanings of Atma Rama. And finally he says that this is 6 meanings of the Atma Rama verses. So 7 he has already described, that we already read in the last summary. And in this summary, 6 more meanings he is given. So Sagarbha Yoga Rurukshu is a yogi who is meditating upon the 4-handed Vishnu form and desiring a kind of a yogic perfection. And Sagarbha Yoga Ruddha is one who has been elevated to the platform of yogic perfection by meditating. And Sagarbha Prapta Siddhi is one who has already attained the perfectional stage by meditating on the Vishnu form. Now we come on the Nirgarbha. Nigarbha Yoga Rurukshu is one who is trying for perfection but in impersonal meditation, because he doesn't worship the Supreme Lord in a localized form, in any form, the localized Paramatma in any form. He says that localized Paramatma in the living entity is formless. And then comes Nigarbha Yoga Ruddhu, an impersonal yogi on the platform of perfection. And finally, Nigarbha Prapta Siddhi, one who has attained the perfection by practicing some impersonal meditation. So now he gives these kind of the 6, more meanings to the Atma Rama verse. But then he continues and he says that when a person, such purified yogi, such purified Sagarbha yogi, who is on the level of Yoga Ruddha stage, when he engages in devotional service and comes in contact with the devotees, then he can transcend himself from this Ashtanga Yoga to Bhakti Yoga. So such a yogi is, in other sense, we can say that such a person is a ripe fruit, because when that ripe fruit comes in contact with the devotee, then his, devotional service starts and he can transcend everything. And then he is so much attracted by the Lord's transcendental activities, because he already worshipped the form of the Lord as Vishnu, as Paramatma in the heart. And when he is already on the mode of goodness, because he has already, transcend all those material impurities, and he is already working on the meditative process, right? He is not on the level of doing any kind of gymnasm so that he may be able to work on his sitting postures, but he has already attained that level. And such a person is a kind of a ripe fruit, because when he comes in contact with a devotee, he gets attracted to the Lord's transcendental qualities, and then his devotional service begins. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also explains the word ahituki. Ahituki, we know the meaning is causeless. And then Urukrame. Urukrama, he is already referring to Lord Vamanadeva. Urukrama, who has big steps. And we know about the story of pastime of Lord Vamanadeva. So he is mentioning in text number 163, Urukrame ahituki kaha kona artha, ei tira artha khailu parama samartha. Means the word ahituki is always applicable to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Urukrama. In this way, I have described 13 meanings of the Atma Rama verse. So, but we'll see what this word ahituki means. So we know the famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savaipum sam param dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahituki apratihata yayatma suprasaditi. Right? He's saying ahituki. So, a person who is always engaged in the loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by doing a kind of a devotional service, but that devotional service should be ahituki and apratihata. So ahituki means that it should be causeless. There should be no motive behind worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it should be apratihata, it should be unmotivated, it should be undeviated also. It should not stop. Like we say, surrenderance should be 100%. It's not that good times you are surrendering to the Lord and bad times you are not. Right? So here the word ahituki, why is saying that it is applicable only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because if we are doing some karma kanda activities, then we have a purpose, we have some motive, we have some cause behind doing some kind of karma kanda activity. Like we do a certain kind of fire sacrifices during certain days of the year. So there is a cause behind it. But when devotional service is done, when it is done for the Supreme Lord, it should be ahituki, it should be causeless. Right? It is not, there is no motive behind. So devotional service is devoid of any unnecessary desire, whether it may be a fruitive desire or any philosophical speculation. It should be devoid of all this. And that's why Mahaprabhu is saying this word ahituki refers only, is applicable only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Urukrama, that is Lord Vamanadeva. The other way also we can see the word ahituki is the causeless. Now this we saw on the devotee side of the point of view, that devotee should do ahituki service to the Supreme Personality of Lord. It means the causeless, without any cause, without any motive. On the other hand, even the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ahituki, is causeless. Right? We often say that Krishna's mercy is causeless, because first of all, the mercy word means that some benediction given to someone who doesn't deserve it. Right? When we come into the contact with any pure devotee, then it's because of the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how much sinful activities we have done that we don't deserve to come onto such platform. Right? But we are here because of the causeless mercy of the devotees as well as of the Supreme Lord. So that is why in both the cases, because Krishna's mercy is always causeless. If we worship some demigod for some, a good motive, and then demigod bestows that benediction, that is also not causeless. Because it's a kind of a give and take, like we just see that how, just an example you see, that how Nand Maharaj, when he was performing Indra Puja, why he was doing that Indra Puja? His motive was because Indra is the bestower of rain. And since they are from the Vaishya community, they need rain so that the grains can be produced and then, they can earn their livelihood. So when they are worshipping Indra, they are worshipping with a motive behind it. And when Indra is bestowing rains, it is because he is pleased with their worship. So he is bestowing that rains to the villages, to Vrindavan, to Rajbhumi. So this is how it's a kind of a give and take. It's just an example that I was giving. And that's why, Sri Krishna stopped that Indra Puja. But coming on to this point, this is the word ahituki means. And that is why Mahaprabhu is saying that this word ahituki is always applicable to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's it. So now, the 13 types of yogis, right, that Mahaprabhu has discussed, he says that all these 13 types of yogis are called Shanta Bhaktas. They are on the platform of, on a neutral stage. Shanta Rasa. We know that there are 5 primary rasas through which we can interact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shanta Rasa, then Dasya Rasa, then Vatsalya Rasa, then Sakhya Rasa, and finally Madhurya Rasa. So all these 13 types of yogis, that Atma Ramas, that is described in this verse by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is saying that they all are called Shanta Bhaktas. They offer their service, they render their loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the neutral stage. Now, so we saw the meaning of the word Atma, right? And what were the 7 meanings of Atma? It was, first was the absolute truth that we discussed, the Brahma. And then the mind. So in absolute truth, we saw how the Jnana yogis were there and how the Ashtanga yogis were there. Means from the Brahman realization and the Paramatma realization. Now, in text number 165, he comes on to the next point where he says the meaning of Atma is also the mind, Mana, right? So he says, Atma Shabde Mana Kaya Mana Hi Rama Sadhu Sange Seha Bhaje Shri Krishna Charana. So he's saying the word Atma sometimes means the mind. In this case, the word Atma Rama means a person who is satisfied by a mental speculation. When such a person associates with a pure devotee, he also takes to devotional service at the lotus feet of Krishna. So here he is talking about Atma means mind. So Atma Rama, a person who is satisfied by mental speculation. So here the word is basically is meditational yoga. So here the point comes. So we saw that, if we see the pattern in this chapter, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu states something and then he gives a reference, the pramana from Srimad Bhagavatam. He states something and then again some pramana from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the pattern, that is coming in this whole chapter up till now, at least till 165 we read. And moving forward also the pattern will continue the same. Mahaprabhu will state something to Sanatana Goswami and then he'll give a pramana, a reference from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now in this also, he is giving the reference from Srimad Bhagavatam. That what kind of people are there who are onto the meditational yoga. Because now he is explaining the word Atma as referring to mind. So Atma is mind and Atma Rama is one who is satisfied onto the mental speculation. Means a kind of meditational yoga. So to that, he is giving a praman from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's Canto 10, Chapter 87, verse number 18. And he is telling that there are various followers, there are various great sages who try to worship the Supreme Lord through their prana, through their meditational value, not through Ashtanga, because Ashtanga is still the preliminary stage where they work on the asanas and sitting postures and controlling their senses. But here he is talking about those who are already, on the meditational process. But still, on coming on to the process of meditation, there are various categories to it. So he is telling that there are some less refined sages, the rishis, the sages, who worship the Supreme as present in the region of the abdomen. So we know the different chakras, right? So in the abdomen, or the Mooladhara chakra, or the Swadhisthana chakra, which is, at the base of the spine, that is the Mooladhara chakra. Then Swadhisthana chakra, which is in the area of the navel. And finally in the Manipura chakra, which is in the abdomen. So when they meditate on these three chakras, where their understanding is that the Supreme Lord is present in these chakras. So actually their understanding is not wrong, because Lord Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita that I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all the living entities. And I join with the air of life outgoing also and incoming also to digest the kind of food that a living entity is eating. So that means that is also the place of the Lord. But that is the place that Prabhupada mentioned is the secondary place where Lord Krishna resides as Paramatma. So there are some yogis, there are some sages who worship the super soul, the Paramatma, in the lower abdomen area, and they worship that. And that lower abdomen area is the three chakras. That is the Mooladhara chakra, which is at the base of the spine, then Swadhisthana chakra, which is at the area of the navel, or the Manipura chakra, which is in the abdomen, right? But there are few other sages who are known as Arunis, and they worship the Supreme Lord as Paramatma, but residing in the heart. Now they come on to the level of heart, which is the center place for all the pranic channels to emanate. We know that all the nadis that come, the arteries, the veins, they come out from the heart, right? And then they worship the Supreme Lord, and that chakra, into that chakra, they worship that. So that is known as prana, or through nadis, that come out from the heart. So they worship that subtle heart or the spiritual heart, because they see the presence of the super soul in the Paramatma feature who is residing in the heart. So those who worship on the abdomen, they are known as Kurpadarsha, because they are less intelligent and their mind is always, their eyes is always clouded by the dust. But there are little higher level, those are Arunis, where they understand that the position of the Supreme Lord is in the heart. As we all know the famous verse from Shvetashvara Upanishad, Angusha Matra Purusho Antaratma, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Angusha Matra. He is at the size, measuring the size of a thumb. He is always present as the super soul within the hearts of the living entities. So those yogis are little advanced, who understand that yes, there is a presence of Paramatma in the heart of the living entity, and they worship that Paramatma, and they are known as Arunis. But higher are those who, when purified, what they do, these yogis, they leave the region of the heart and then they go upward to the chakra at the roof of the brain. And then they leave their body from that Brahmarandra chakra, that is the highest. When we say that Kundalini Shakti should rise from the Mooladhara chakra to Brahmarandra. So they leave their body from that head, from the top of their, skull. When they leave the heart region, go upward at the roof of the brain. Then when they leave their body from there, the soul leaves the body from that Brahmarandra, then they go directly to the kingdom of God and they don't return. That's what Mahaprabhu is explaining. They do not enter into the cycle of birth and death. So we saw, right? The Atma, when it comes to the meaning of mind, then he's saying at Atma Rama, there are again three types, right? Those who are known as Sarkrakshas, that means they are always meditating on the abdomen area, the secondary position of Lord. But gradually there are few who, then second are Arunis who worship on the heart region, but then they also rise up and beginning from the abdomen to the heart onto the top of the head, pass through Brahmarandra, the hole on the top of the skull. And those such yogis, when they leave their body from Brahmarandra, they do not enter into the cycle of birth and death. So this is again just a philosophical understanding, which as a devotee, we don't have to dive deep into it. But since it was mentioned in Caitanya Caritamrta and detailed in Srimad Bhagavatam, so I thought that there is no harm in getting the knowledge for that. But again, it's a dry philosophy, because we being devotee are always interested in Bhakti Yoga. But then Mahaprabhu goes on explaining that being attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna, such yogis, they become saints. And at the time not being hampered by the yogi process, they engage in unalloyed devotional service. So he is not denying those positions, those yogis who are leaving the body from the skull, from the Brahmarandra. Now we'll see one more meaning of Atma and then we'll stop. So another meaning of Atma, Mahaprabhu is telling endeavor. This is text number 168. Atma Shabde Yatna Kahe Yatna Kariya Munayopi Krishna Bhaje Guna Krishtahana. So Atma also means endeavor. Now being attracted by Krishna's transcendental qualities, some saints make a great endeavor to come on to the point of rendering devotional service to him. So to this, Mahaprabhu again gives a praman from Srimad Bhagavatam, and he says that just by wandering up and down, through different planets, right from Satyaloka to Bhuloka to Patal Loka, if you go up and down from time immemorial, you will not attain the loving transcendental service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one has to actually be intelligent and learned, and one should try to endeavor, right? One should try to make a right effort to attain the transcendental position. So just by thinking, okay, coming up and we are doing it and it's happening, leaving the body, coming into another species, so we are just wandering in these 14 planetary systems. If we keep on doing this, then also, it's no use. So the point is to do some endeavor. And here he gives the praman of Vyasadeva. That Vyasadeva, he wrote the whole Upanishads, Itihasas, the Puranas, he wrote everything, right? But still he was very despondent in the heart and he didn't know what to do so that he becomes happy. Writing so many scriptures, still his heart was not completely satisfied. And to his hermitage, Narad Muni walks in, who acts as his spiritual master and guides him that yes, you have written all the Itihasas, all the Puranas, everything you have written, but you have not glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. That's why you are not feeling that complete satisfaction in your heart. And so he advised him that you please go ahead and write something about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Vyasadeva wrote this Amala Puran, which is known as Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes only of Krishna, his activities and his activities of his pure devotees. So this is what Mahaprabhu is mentioning, that one has to do some kind of endeavor. If you will not do that effort, then you will not come on to the point where you can refer a pure service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Moving on, he says in the verse 170, it is also from Narada Puran, where he says that those who are eager to awaken their spiritual consciousness and have unflinching deviated intelligence, then they certainly attain the desired goal of life. So such Atmarama people, now here the Atma is endeavor. So such people who really make the right endeavor to know about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they somehow get engaged in the process of devotional service. And devotional service, Mahaprabhu is saying that it is very difficult to attain. On one side, it is sulabha. It is easy to perform, right? But it is very difficult to attain. And he gives two reasons. One is that unless one is not attached to Krishna, he cannot attain the devotional service, which is very obvious, right? If you are not attached to a person, how will you able to render some service for that person? Even if the mundane world also we see, if we don't know the person, if we don't have any attachment to that friend or person or a relative, we will not be enthusiastic to offer some service to that person. So that same thing applies, that if we don't have any love for Krishna, then definitely we cannot perform any service for Krishna. And second, why it is difficult is that even if we render devotional service for a long time, Shri Krishna does not easily deliver the perfection in devotional service, because that is not in the hands of Shri Krishna. As we say that bhukti and mukti, if we ask from Krishna, if we ask from some fruitive gains or we ask for liberation, Krishna immediately gives. But when we ask for bhakti, it's very difficult for Krishna to give bhakti. Why? It's not that he cannot give. In one sense, yes, because bhakti is only given by bhaktas, that is devotees, only the devotees. But at some sense, Krishna can also, like we say, the causeless mercy of Krishna comes from Krishna, right? So why he cannot give that bhakti is because, he tests. He doesn't want to give. Because if he gives bhakti to someone, that means he becomes a sold out servant to that devotee. And nobody, including Krishna, wants to become a servant, right? Including us. Even we are like a mere mortal soul. We also don't want to become a servant. Because when you become a servant, you have to obey their orders. And here, Krishna is becoming a servant, a sold out servant. What is the meaning? He can become a slave. See the position of a slave. That slave, the position of that slave or a servant, that position Krishna acquires as soon as he bestows bhakti to a person. Now here also Sukdev Goswami, Mahaprabhu actually is giving a praman, and Sukdev Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj. Now this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's from the 5th canto, chapter 8, chapter 6 and verse number 18. So here Sukdev Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj about the royal dynasties, how Rishabdev came and how Maharaj Priyavrata was there, King Prithu was there, and then in Raghu dynasty Lord Ramachandra came, then in Yadu dynasty Krishna himself came. So he was just glorifying all these dynasties, and he was telling that how the Lord, he himself come in incarnation. And to this, Parikshit Maharaj was really sad, because he thought that, yes, he was there, but in Kuru dynasty, Krishna didn't take any birth. He didn't take any birth in Kuru dynasty, because Krishna was in the Yadu dynasty. So he was taking the Kuru dynasty to be less fortunate. And to that, Srila Sukdev Goswami is mentioning that you can say that though Krishna has not taken birth in the Kuru dynasty, but still the Kuru dynasty is more glorious than all other dynasties. Why? Because the Kuru dynasty was full of the devotees of Krishna, like Pandavas, who render unalloyed, undeviated service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So much so that Krishna, he was so much obligated to the Pandavas. So now you can see, taking birth in that dynasty is more glorious, or being so much obligated to the devotees present in that dynasty is more glorious. That, Sukadeva Goswami is trying to mention, that this is what the power of devotional service is. No doubt in Yadu dynasty, Krishna himself came as Krishna, and in Raghu dynasty, he came as Ramachandra. But still, those dynasties are glorious, but better are those dynasties in which the Krishna is serving as a servant. We know that for the Pandavas, he acted as messenger. He went with the peace treaty on behalf of the Pandavas to Duryodhan. And then how he acted as a charioteer. It's such a menial position he took. Why? Because those Pandavas were rendering the unalloyed devotional service to the Lord, and Lord was so much so affected that he became a sold out servant for all of them. We know that to what extent Krishna was serving the Pandavas even when they were in exile. So to this, he was telling to Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami, that don't worry. Apparently you think that yes, in Kuru dynasty Krishna didn't take birth, but if you see that that this Kuru dynasty is more glorious. Why? Because there Krishna was serving as a servant of his devotees. And that's why Mahaprabhu is saying that it's very difficult to attain this position of devotional service. But to those, as we know the famous words of Bhagavad Gita, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. What he says, that to those devotees who are constantly devoted to serving me, I give them understanding by which they can come to me. So that indirectly bhakti is also given by Krishna, because Krishna himself gives the intelligence to the devotees that they can go and attain Krishna. From there, they don't need to come back. So here we'll stop. And I know even Ramagirdhari Prabhu, the last class we had in Caitanya Caritamrta, he also covered, I think so, till 175. And we did till 173, because from 174, another meaning of Atma will be explained by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll stop till 173. And thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sanatana Goswami ki jai, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai. It's such a vast subject matter and such a deep philosophy. I don't know whether I did justice to it, but thank you so much for patiently listening. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida, Sundari, Mataji. One more wonderful session, very, very beautiful. And things are becoming clearer as you speak. Thank you very much for the service that you do. It means a lot to all of us. So I just was thinking of one thing, one realization, and then a couple of questions. So the first thing is towards the last, when you were quoting this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 5.6.18, Shukadeva Goswami telling Parikshit Maharaj, actually, though Krishna didn't take birth in the Kuru dynasty and he chose the Yadu dynasty, still the Kurus are more fortunate because Krishna sold out to the Kurus. I was just thinking how the same thing actually even Yudhishthir Maharaj was feeling when he heard about how Narsingadev personally appeared for the sake of Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto. So even Yudhishthir felt the same thing. Oh, the Lord personally appeared just for the sake of Prahlad. How fortunate he is. And then at that time Shukadeva Goswami tells him, actually you are much more fortunate because Krishna is associating with you like a friend and like a brother. Who can be more fortunate than you? So we see the similar mood in his grandson as well, where Parikshit Maharaj is also feeling like, oh, maybe the others are more fortunate than me, and immediately Shukdev Goswami is saying, no, 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 actually Krishna sold out to you. It's very beautiful.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, we see that similarity.
Yeah, that was very beautiful. And yes, actually, the verses that talk about devotional service, Krishna being sold out, these have so much, there is so much to relish on these topics as compared to the yoga related and the jnana.
Exactly. Yes, very true.
Very true. So my questions now, I don't even know if I'm going to ask the question correctly. Please correct me if my question is wrong also. So I had two questions. So one question is about when you were talking about the Sagarbha and the Nirgarbha, right? The Ashtanga yogis, two varieties. One is meditating on the form and the other one is meditating on the impersonal form. And then later when we came to the point of understanding the meaning of Atma as the mind, we were talking about devotees. Again, they are practicing a yoga system where they are meditating on the chakras. And then they realize, they transcend to the chakra of the heart, and there they see the Lord, and then they leave their body through the Sahasra, whatever the topmost chakra is, and they go. So now, so I understand that the process followed by the people who with their mind means meditating on the chakra. The process followed by these people is different from the process that is being followed by the people who are meditating on the super soul, right?
Yes.
That means I have this question that then why would they, because scripture also tells that according to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras and different scriptures, it is always said that meditation on the Lord, especially for these Nirgarbha and Sagarbha yogis, that category of people, should always be done on the form of the Lord. Now, where is this, is there a method, a separate method by which these Nirgarbha yogis have this conception of impersonal Brahman in the heart? I was thinking impersonal concept comes from the meditation of chakras, but then this appears to be totally different in that case.
No, this is totally different when they, because when they are concentrating on the chakras, still they understand that that's the position of the Paramatma, because they understand that the Paramatma is in the abdomen area or in the heart region, and then finally in the skull, the Brahmarandra, where they leave the body. While those people, the Nigarbha people, the Nigarbha yogis, when they meditate on the super soul and the heart as Paramatma, they worship the same, but they worship him as a light present in the heart. They don't worship as a form. In the heart also, they say that there is some kind of higher consciousness or higher light, some energy, they worship on that. But they don't worship as a form of Vishnu in the Paramatma region.
Oh, they also don't go through this chakra type of meditation. It's a different meditation where they see the light. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, they just see the light, some energy. Yeah. They don't meditate on the form of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting how even the people who are endeavoring at a very lower stage, like we saw the 3 different stages of these yogis, and in those stages also they are able to be called as Atma Ramas. I mean, that is really wonderful. That is progress, right? So that is another interesting.
Because that is also not easy. We are into this material world, we are totally materialistic. So even coming on to that stage is also not easy.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. And the other question I had was about when towards the end we started talking about the Shantarasa, and we were telling how these people who are meditating on the mind and they reach Shantarasa and all that. So I was also thinking of this point that, we used to have this discussion before about the goal, the region, the destination of where the people who meditate on Paramatma go. We also had this discussion in the past that some people reach impersonal while others reach, like Shantarasa and the spiritual world. So I think then Sagarbha, Nirgarbha is the answer to that, or how do we think?
Yeah, no, it's the same, right? We are talking about the story of a Gopakumara and this Tapa Yoga, this yoga, Yoga, sorry, Loka. That is the destination of all the yogis, the Ashtanga yogis that they reach. Because they are always, like we saw in the Tapa Loka, how, Gopakumara saw that every verse was meditating. And they were instructing him also that you see the Paramatma in the heart. So that is the destination. That's Loka is the destination.
Okay, so they don't even go to the Brahmajyoti, or?
No. They don't even go to the Brahmajyoti.
Okay. So, and how do they attain Shantarasa? Who attains Shantarasa? Sorry.
I don't know as such, like Shantarasa, like it's not that, what do you think, that Shantarasa should only be on the point of Vaikuntha?
It can be.
Because as we were, it can be, right? Because as we were telling about the 24 different kind of, personalities like Trivikrama, Achyuta, Purushottama, Keshava, all these 24, they also have their different loka in Vaikuntha. So yes, maybe you are right that they are not even restricted to this Maharloka or Tapaloka, but they do transcend once they leave their body. They do transcend and reach to Vaikuntha and all these planets to whom they are meditating upon. The Vishnu, the form of Vishnu they are meditating upon, they reach to their planet and serve in Shantarasa.
Okay. And the ones believe in the form of, or rather don't meditate in the form of the Lord, if they transcend, they only go to Brahmajyoti because they have the concept of formlessness. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, they have the conception of formless. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji, and really, really, a lot of gratitude to you. This is a very tough job. Taking it up, Mataji.
It's really a tough job, but thank you so much because you only inspire me to read. And right now, why I don't go live? Right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books open in front of me. And I'm resting, the whole table is full of all these books. So what's the point of going live? Because I'll be simply referring from all these books.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Okay, anyone else has any question, comment?
Hare Krishna, Kirtida, Sundari, Mataji, Koti Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Surabhita Ki. Thank you very much for nectar in class. Please sing whatever you like to sing, Mataji.
First of all, tell me, Mataji, how are you feeling now?
Pain is still that, but because of all the senior Vaishnava association, Mataji, it's like it's 50% healing, Mataji. It's like become a green patches in the body. And because of winter, it takes time to heal. And I am diabetes patient, so it takes time, Mataji.
Oh, so sorry, Mataji, but yeah, definitely our prayers are always with you, Mataji. Yeah, I'll honor your request, but let's see if we have any questions or any other further comments.
Thank you very much, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Very nice.
Thank you so much. Some other kids.
I have to hear it again on recording, like usually I do.
I don't think you need to hear it again because you are already a pure devotee, right? Why do you want to hear about all other ladders? No other ladder is important, since it was mentioned in CC, so we are just taking up as a course way, but otherwise, devotees don't need to worry about all other ladders because they are already on the Bhakti Yoga ladder, which is the highest.
Yes, that is what, I have, in the one of the songs of Bhakti Thakur, he says, I don't know why it doesn't come to me. Like in the one who has taken Gaura's shelter, they are Gauranga Jan, and they all go to Krishna, Rajendra Nanda.
See? They don't need anything else.
Yeah, thank you. Because we have, and Guru Maharaj Mercy, we have this Gauranga shelter. Thank you, Mataji. It's also nice to know about this different process, just in sometimes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, so thank you all so much. We'll stop here, and Vrinda Gopika Mataji, just for you, my voice is not worth hearing, especially when it comes to singing. I'm really poor in it, but just to honor your request, just for you, for your speedy recovery, I'll just sing one verse or maybe two verses. They are from Gopi Geet, and as you all know, that in this month of Kartik, every day we should sing Gopi Geet, the song of separation. It's so auspicious to sing. Every day, try to make it a point to read this whole chapter. That is the 31st chapter of 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And these are the songs by Gopi. Jayati Tedikam Janmana Vrata Sharata Indira Shashvadatrahi Daita Drishyata Dikshutavaka Tvaitrita Swava Samvichinvate Sharadudashahe Sadhu Jatasa Sarashijodhara Shri Mushadrisha Suratnath Te Kshulkadasika Varadhani Gnato Neha Kinvadai. Gopis are saying that we are your unpaid maidservants. We are just serving you without any price. Suratanatate Nishulka Dasika. And still you left us, leaving all alone in this forest. Thank you so much, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Very beautifully sung, Mataji. Very melodious.
Yes, Mataji. Shishi Gopi Gita ki jai. Yes, Mataji. How is important,
Vrinda Gopika Mataji ki jai. Get better.
All devotees. Dandavat pranam to all senior Vaishnava.
We all wish you that you get better soon. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Feel better after hearing Shishi Bhagavatam Sushi Jitana Chanavi.
That's good.
That should be the mood, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. That should
You're
be the
transcendent.
Anyone else has any questions or comments for Mataji?
Okay, we can end up the call now.
Okay. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji, as well. We'll end the call. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री की जय, श्री श्री चैतन्य चरितामृता की जय, हर ग्रेस कीर्तिदा सुंदरी माताजी की जय।
और
हरे
हर्षवृंद की जय।
जय।
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.